Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a Tuesday edition of Let's Play Every Day. I am Tim McNiff, and every day it's my great honor to welcome a panel of influencers and their sidekicks from the Minnesota sports business and entertainment communities to take on your sports talkers of the day. We should mention Let's Play Every Day is sponsored by our good friends at Northern Lids. Northern Lids, check them out at northernlids.com. I don't know if you saw yesterday on Twitter, Nick Gross had some classic NHL hats. Did you see those, Jessi Pierce? Northern Lids, check them out at Northern Lids. Okay, I'm hearing myself on a delay somewhere.
I think we had like two different things going on. I was like, wait, was that to me? Yes, I did see those. Those were awesome.
They were awesome. Yeah, very, very nice. So
I commented on the Whalers one. That's my go-to team.
And the North Stars cap. Come on. I'm like, who did you make those for? And Nick, you haven't responded and told me who you made those for yet. So I'm still waiting to hear about that. So Jessi Pierce in tandem there. Avery joining us as well today. And we're always welcome. She classes up the joint. JP back after surviving a birthday weekend in La Crosse, Wisconsin during Oktoberfest, no less, confirming to me that Dells does indeed still stand and do business on the main strip. Jessi creates content for NHL.com, MN Hockey Journal, USA Hockey, and she is, of course, one half of the Bar Down Beauties podcast. Another beauty, see Willi Myles, both an athlete and a coach at St. Cloud State University. These days, Willi tours as America's everyday comedian, and he's got a gig today at 10:30 in Bloomington. So we got to get him out on time, and we thank Willi for squeezing us into his busy schedule, pinch hitting for Kevin Gord today. And there was a time when Darrell Thompson could run away from just about anybody on the football field. These days, despite being the analyst for Golden Gopher football, Darrell works through bolder options to ensure that our youth have the opportunity to run with a mentor if that's something that they aspire to do. I thank you all for joining me this morning to do this. And JP, if you would, can you give us a brief breakdown of last night's 3-1 win, Minnesota Wild over the Colorado Avalanche?
Hey, first win, first at-home preseason game, first time Kirill Kaprizov played in the preseason, so that was very exciting. I absolutely loved having the fans there. I mean, there were a couple last year, but nothing like this season, and they were so excited to see number 97. He looked good out there. He had 3 points, a goal, and 2 assists. Can't go wrong there. It was the first time we also saw Joel Eriksson Ek as the top-line center in a game situation with Matt Zuccarello and Kaprizov on either side. They looked good. I mean, it's still preseason, right? It's kind of the chance where you get to have a look, and Colorado fielded mostly younger AHL guys that were kind of vying for a tryout spot. So it was a little lopsided at times, but it was great to be back in the building, great to be back around live hockey in person. And I'm excited for another preseason game, another 2 home preseason games coming up here Wednesday and Thursday for the Wild.
Wednesday and Thursday night. Yes, thank you very much. All right, you guys, we're switching it up here today. We're going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to play a new game called Fact or Fiction. Now, this really is more opinion than actual facts or fiction, but instead of asking you a question the way I normally do, I am instead going to make a statement, and you're going to respond by either saying fact or fiction, and then you're going to tell us why you believe that statement is either fact or fiction. For instance, I might say leaving Irvin Magic Johnson out of the conversation for the greatest to ever play hoops is a sin that happens just far too often. And you would either say fact or fiction, then you'd make your case as to why you believe that to be the case. Are we all on the same page?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Here we go. After the Gophers beat Purdue on Saturday, Gopher head coach PJ Fleck was asked about snapping an 0-for-17 streak where his Gophers had lost when trailing at the half. PJ responded by saying he wasn't even aware that he was 0-17 while trailing at the half. Willi Myles, fact or fiction?
Lies. Oh, I'm sorry. That's fiction. Fiction. 100% pure fiction. And I'll tell you why. First of all, I'm going to give this like a half Pinocchio. And because the U has statisticians. DT is aware of that. He knows that they have. He's an analyst. PJ has the same information he has about that team. He knows exactly what it is. And if he doesn't know, he needs to fire the statistician. You know what I mean? Because that's some information you need to have when you're down 17-0. You know what I mean? You need to have that information at hand. So if he's not made aware of it, then he needs to fire them. But I'm 100% sure coaches know everything. He's a smart guy. You can hear him talk, how he talks, what he talks about, the numbers he throws out. For him not to know that they're 0-17, that ain't the first time it's been brought up, man, because you were 0 for 5, you were 0 for 10, you were 0 for 15. Somebody told you that.
All right. Twins first baseman Miguel Sano said last week that he was going to dedicate himself to dropping 30 pounds in the offseason and to staying with the swing adjustments he made in the second half of the season to cut down on strikeouts and to use more of the field. Darrell Thompson, Sano's off-field aspirations, fact or fiction?
Oh, I think it's absolutely a fact. I mean, you are what you eat. And I think eventually a guy, he's 28 years old. He's had 5 or 6 years. You have this, like, when you're young, you can eat a hamburger, you can eat French fries, you can have a shake, and you can go out and play. And then little by little, it starts to catch up to you. You start to have aches, you start to have pains. And he's realizing, he says, I want to be like Big Papi. I want to be like some of the other players that extend their play. He's probably like, trying to channel Tom Brady. I'm going to have a shake for breakfast. I'm going to have a celery for a snack at 11 o'clock. And then I'm going to have maybe a turkey sandwich or something like that at lunch. So he's starting to figure out that if you want to make money, you got to eat right. You got to take care of the body, which is your temple, as what I tell my kids. So take care of the temple, you'll be successful. And he's realizing it. So I would not be shocked at all if he comes in 30 pounds lighter next year.
I still vividly recall one of the best lines I ever read. Patrick Royce writing about David Ortiz, then with the Minnesota Twins, saying David Ortiz is a 27-year-old man trapped in a 72-year-old's body. I laughed out loud when I read that one, but unfortunately not laughing a few years later as David had the ring and all the rest of it with Boston. Okay, right. Last weekend, the University of Minnesota Gopher women's hockey program swept at home by the Ohio State University. I say this Gopher women's program is not only no longer the best in the nation, they're not even one of the 2 best teams in the Big Ten. Jessi Pierce, fact or fiction?
You chose violence, Tim McNiff. I like it, though. Alexis would love the chaos. I'm going to say fiction. I personally love parity across hockey, especially, right? Because it's a sport that still is a very niche sport. So the more teams that you can get to be competitive and compete, that's fantastic. At the end of the day, though, the Gophers are always going to be the Gophers, especially when it comes to women's hockey, where Minnesota produces hands down the most elite talent. I mean, it's not even close. Massachusetts is the second state that produces the most Division I female college hockey players, and they're still hundreds of players away. So Minnesota's always going to have the cream of the crop, the best. The Ohio State, you do love to see them start to do well, and I'm sure you're referring to that Wisconsin State next door as the other Big Ten team. That's a tough one. But I think the Gophers will get it together. Again, we talked about Brad Frost last week as one of the elite hockey minds in all of college hockey. So I'm going to say fiction, Tim. The Gophers are still Gopher hockey.
And as a former Gopher running that Ohio State program, who's doing them in. So
exactly.
Yes. All right. Yesterday on this program, Tanishka Masker, who covers the Vikings for ZoneCoverage.com, said the book is out on how to beat the Minnesota Vikings. All you got to do is hit Kirk Cousins early, and he will come apart under the pressure. Willi Myles, you heard it at the time she said it. Fact or fiction?
Well, I nodded my head then, and I'm going to nod then. That's a 100% fact. It is a fact. And like I said, even if he doesn't fall apart, he gets skittish. You know what I mean? And the first thing he does when he's skittish, and we've all seen it, every Sunday you watch him, he throws to his check down. He doesn't even look down the field anymore. He check down, check down, check down. You know what I mean? He's look, I watched the other night, and I watched a 43-year-old quarterback stand in the pocket, took some hits. I watched him run. I watched him look at his check downs and then look down the field, throw the ball. I've seen Aaron Rodgers. I've seen Patrick Mahomes. I've seen Russell Wilson. These are elite quarterbacks. I am so sorry to tell you this, and I'm going to say it. I'll say it 100 times. And it's not that I don't like the guy. He is just not an elite quarterback. For the amount of money that he gets paid, he does not play like that type of a quarterback. I don't care how crappy your offensive line is. You got to find a way, man. And he does. He gets a little skittish. So I agree with that 100%, and I think that's fact.
Let's talk about that offensive line. Ezra Cleveland is 6'6" tall. He weighs 311 pounds and has an arm length of 33 3/8 inches. All of that stereotypical when you're talking about an offensive tackle, which is what Cleveland played in college. The problem is the Vikings have moved Cleveland inside to guard where he's too tall and not bottom heavy enough to handle the opponent's pocket collapsers in the middle. Darrell Thompson, fact or fiction?
That's a fact, and it's unfortunate because when you get you're really, really good at something in college, and they say, well, you're a really good tackle, you'd be a really good guard. It's like saying, Darrell, you're a really good tailback, you'd be a really good fullback. No, I wouldn't be a really good fullback. I just get beat up, and I'm not big enough, I'm not strong enough, my body's not set up to do that. And I feel like he's in a very, very similar position. You get put in a position like that, you're playing pro ball, and the competition's more difficult. In college, maybe he could have done it in college. In the NFL, where there's like, I'm going to say men, there's men in college, there's grown men in the NFL that are playing for keeps. So I just think it's a big disadvantage for him. I mean, he could probably figure it out and he can be serviceable, but I think it's a fact, unfortunately.
Yeah. What are they thinking? So this,
well, I mean, you got injuries,
guys,
you got stuff that comes into it. You just got, you start moving people around. You're like, oh, it kind of works, and things kind of work in practice because you get a little like, oh, well, you did it against this guy in practice a little bit. So well, practice ain't the game. You come out in the game, and Ndamukong Suh's out there. He's like, hey, I love it. Chuck this guy out of the way. Sounds good.
Rookie.
Yeah. And you got these guys who are built to be where they are, and they've just got him out of position, and it drives me up the wall. I asked these guys earlier, hey, what do you think about this new format? And they're all like, oh, yeah, this is fun. This is fun. This is like therapy for me, because half the time I'm just quoting people. Other times I'm just getting stuff out. So thank you. Thank you for allowing to. You guys are my therapy.
Can we charge what a therapist might charge them too?
Right? I'll pay Avery. I'm not so sure. All right. The Vikings have lost 3 games, all by less than 7 points, to teams that are combined 10-2. And if not for a late game fumble and a missed kick, the Vikes, they would be 3-1 instead of 1-3. And nobody would be panicking about the makeup of this football team. Jessi Pierce, fact or fiction?
I'm going to say fact with an asterisk, of course, because, I mean, technically, those two things don't happen, or you make the kick and you don't have the fumble, you win the game. I mean, without question, you are 3-1. My asterisk goes, you shouldn't have been put in that position that you needed those things to not happen. You should have played better on early in the game, got yourself in a better position to win the game. So that's my asterisk. But ultimately, it comes down to a fact. If those hadn't happened, the Vikes would be 3-1, and I think people will be a little bit happier in the state of Minnesota.
Well played, because that wasn't where I saw this one going, and I totally agree with what you did with that. So
yes,
I'm impressed. Well done. A noticeably more muscular Carl Anthony Towns said he consulted with Hall of Famer Ben Wallace on how Wallace conducted his workouts, adding, "This is a big season for me. I've just got to go out there and get it done. I am prepared to give everything that I have. I plan to do that. I'm more than prepared." Willi Myles, a more fit Carl Anthony Towns is a good start, but he's no longer the alpha wolf of this pack. Fact or fiction?
Okay, you need to tell Darrell the highest.
I can't. I mean, that's just. When someone says I'm going to get in shape this year, I'm always like, you can't bleep out what I want. I'm like, what the? So you just, I'm getting paid. I'm going to lose 30 pounds. I'm going to get in shape this year to play in the NFL or to Major League Baseball or professional. I'm like, oh, so that's a good idea. You should get in shape this year. Were you not in shape last year?
Literally, your job is to be in shape, right?
Go ahead.
I just wanted you to get that out. See how that make you really feel, buddy. He was a psychology major. I knew he needed to get some stuff out. And,
I feel better. Thank you.
I know he does. I mean, just boiled up, man. You really. But with that being said, I am going to go with fiction. I still think Big Cat he's the go-to guy. He's the Big Cat, whether he's in shape or not. That's who he is. He is to that team. And let me just say, he's the same, like to me, he's what KG was to that team. He's the guy. And they don't, what they need and what he needs, he can get in all the shape he wants. But if you don't get enough wolves around you, he needs a pack of wolves around him. And he just can't just be the Big Cat. Big cats don't win by themselves. And Michael Jordan found that out. So did Magic Johnson. So did Tom Brady. So did everybody else.
Yeah.
What's that?
So did KG, right? Like
exactly. But he went to Boston, and they surrounded him with people, and next thing you know, blink, blink. You know what I mean? And that's what the big cat did. I think Karl Anthony Towns is a talent, but again, I agree with Darrell. You don't just after your 6 or 7 years say I'm gonna come in shape. What shape were you in when you came in last time? What were you doing?
Yeah.
Yoga? You know.
Yeah.
I love it. You guys, this is great. All right. First, there was the emergence of Justin Jefferson. Then there was the transcendence of Kirill Kaprizov. Finally, there was the late blooming of Anthony Edwards. One was the rookie of the year, but you could have made a strong case that the other two should have been crowned as well. For as much as we have to complain about in this miserable sports market, there's never been a time when three such promising young talents have started their careers in different sports at exactly the same time. Darrell Thompson, fact or fiction?
I'm going to go with fact, and the other part is I just didn't have enough time to research this question. I was thinking about Kirby Puckett and all the different people that have, had fabulous careers for different organizations, and KG and Chuck Foreman and all the, I'm like, it's probably a fact. And I hope it is an exciting time, for our city, with everything that's going on. And I hope that the, Kirill and everything just we all just ride this, into and Stanley Cup. We did win our preseason game, so we got nothing to worry about,
Yeah, get the parade route going.
Exactly. I'm gonna light up my cigar. I got them ready.
Throw the parade now before they go on that losing streak.
The weather's nice.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love it. Yeah, I tried too, Darrell. I sat there and I tried to think of, at the same time, if we ever had three people arrive in the market just at exactly the same time and make that sort of an impact. And all three of them, despite being, take their talent on the field aside, all appear very bright, very engaging, you know what I mean? And very, man, I hope those guys are around for a long time. They're all very fun to watch and fun to listen to, and it's exciting.
Well, I think so too. The other piece, was maybe, Byron Buxton. He's one more that could be like a kind of future ascending, exciting, player. So, I mean, there's a lot of talent. You got to stay in one piece. That's always the goal of any, athlete. You got to be in shape, then you got to stay in one piece.
I thought about Luis Arise, because last year he busted up for the Twins before any of those guys did. But he struggled this year. Hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. So here comes another question on the way. So I'll just throw that one out. Okay, a college hockey poll released just yesterday looks like this. Number 1, Minnesota State Mankato. Number 2, St. Cloud State. Number 3, Michigan. Number 4, Gophers. Number 5, Minnesota Duluth. And Bemidji State checks in at number 15. Yet mark my words, when March comes, it's either going to be the Wolverines, Wisconsin, or some team from out east that'll be skating laps with the hardware at the Frozen Four. Jessi Pierce, fact or fiction?
I'm going to say fiction because I'm going with my heart on this one, because they're going to rebound. Last year, you had all these Minnesota teams in the Frozen Four. The odds were in our favor, state of hockey, and it didn't happen. So my heart says this year, it's the year of St. Cloud. Willie, I'm sure you love to hear that. I'm going to go with St. Cloud as maybe bringing home that hardware. Very solid team, but yeah, fiction. Go state of hockey.
And Mankato State's got a heck of a goalie as well,
yes.
So we'll wait and see. All right, when asked where the scoring was going to come from this season, new Gopher men's basketball coach Ben Johnson said, I think with this team, it's going to be somebody different up every night. And when you play like that, everybody has to have buy-in. Everybody has to be a part of it. The team mindset, the team culture, the team aspect, that wins out in the long run. No winter sport team in the state of Minnesota is going to be more ready for spring break than the Gopher men's basketball team. Willi Myles, fact or fiction?
This one is going to be fiction for me. Ready? I don't know. I'm on a wait and see with this. I'm gonna wait. But look, I love the concept. I love the concept of the coaching strategy. Because that's kind of what we did at St. Cloud State, to be honestly. We had Barry Waller, we had Reggie Perkins, we had Kevin Catron. So it was like one night, either one of these guys will give you 29, 28, 32 points. And that's the way, you buy-in is important, especially in basketball, because conceptually, every guy has to be responsible when they're out there on that court. And you got to know your role. And you got to do your part. And if one guy isn't picking it up, the other guy's got to pick it up. So I like his concept, his strategy. but I'm still going to be able to wait and see. I don't know this team. I need to see them. I need to watch them, and I need to see how he's going to coach them. And he's going to let them play the brand of ball that these guys are capable of playing, or force them into a system that he wants them to be in that they may not be comfortable with. That's what it all boils down to. So I have to watch that.
But that's why he said that. He doesn't know. When you don't know, like, well, we're going to spread it around. We're going to work, we're going to work the game. We're going to, take what they give us, all the, give me some cliches.
Yeah. And that's why I said, I love the conception, the strategy. I mean, it's important because you that way you're not putting it on one guy, and you're saying that either these guys got to buy in, because if Dante ain't putting it up, that's not who's on the team. But I'm just throwing out some names. If he ain't putting it up, who's gonna step up?
And my point was with the question is, if all their Big Ten teams could schedule like a homecoming game, they would all be scheduling the Gophers for their homecoming game. I mean, it's going to be a long season for that basketball team. And I'm not saying that Ben Johnson won't have success in the future. I just don't envy what he walked into and what he has to deal with going into this season. It's going to be rough. All right.
Yeah.
The Minnesota Twins acquired shortstop Andrelton Simmons to bolster the defense behind a pitching staff that was supposed to give up a lot of ground balls. Instead, while Simmons played like a poor imitation of his former Gold Glove self, the unmoored Jorge Polanco took months to get going at second base and at the plate, while Luis Ariz played the entire season like a man without a position. Darrell Thompson, fact or fiction?
I'm going to go with fact. Just the Twins. It's just like I don't know. I just don't understand what they're doing every once in a while. Jorge Polanco is my favorite player, by far. I love what he's doing, but everything else the Twins do, I'm just baffled. So it's a no-brainer. I don't understand, and it's just kind of goes down the road like that for me.
I love it. All right, you guys, that was a Tuesday edition of Fact or Fiction. Well done. Well done. That was fun.
I think I passed.
You always do. Willie, can you tell us where you're headed today?
I'm heading over to going to be across the river here in Minnesota Valley. That's where I'm performing at today. So
congratulations and best of luck, and thank you for pinch hitting today and being here with us. I always appreciate that very much. Thank you. Darrell Thompson,
Coach, I'm always ready. You just call my number.
You are the absolute best.
I ain't doing nothing.
Number one, right on.
Hey, Darrell, can you give us anything on the status of the injured Gopher football player Trey Potts, who was left behind in West Lafayette? It's kind of a murky situation.
It's kind of nervous. I don't know exactly what's going on, but he left the field under his own power, and it looked like they were doing something around his head and neck. We just don't know. So when the doctors stay back, and when it's that delicate of a situation, and you just don't know what's going on. So we as like a community of athletes and community are concerned anytime it's around the head, the neck, any of those things. It makes you concerned. So hopefully he's all right, but we don't have very much information at all. So I'm sure we'll find out more hopefully before the end of the week, and he'll be back here and be safe. But I think it's a touch and go situation right now, I think.
Well, we certainly send the best and hope for the best in that situation. Jessi, Avery says it's time to go. Before you do,
she was nervous about all of it. So.
She's been great as always.
Yes.
What do you got going on?
I have my cot set up at the XL Energy Center, prepared for hockey season, because that's where I will be most nights. Again, preseason starts to wrap up. First home game the 19th against the Winnipeg Jets. So go Wilds, and you can catch Bar Down Beauties obviously every Monday.
I can't thank the three of you enough. This was a lot of fun. I had fun putting this together, and I hope you guys had fun with it. I'd like to bring this back periodically from time to time. Good to get you guys out on the limb a little bit, and you all handle it like the professionals that you are. That is where we're going to leave the conversation for today. Obviously, I want to thank my good friend Nick Gross and Northern Lids for their continued support. This program is called Let's Play Every Day, part of LPSN, or the Let's Play Sports Network. And we had a big announcement earlier today, and I don't know how this happened, you guys, but I asked State Senator Carla Bigham to come on It's Gorgomatic and to talk about the effort to bring sports gambling to the state of Minnesota. And she showed up and she just wowed us with her sports acumen and just her personality and everything else. And I said, this is great. I'd like to have you come back sometime if you think you could work it out. Well, going forward, she's going to be a part of the show every Thursday. She's going to come on. So we're going to call it Thinking Big. And she's going to come in. I said, you can't show up empty-handed. You got to come up with a play or an angle. And Kevin Gorg will then decide if it's Gorgomatic or not. But so starting Thursday, Minnesota State Senator Carla Bigham is going to be joining us Gorgomatic. I never thought she would say yes to coming back once. And here she comes every Thursday. So we're very excited about that. And so we're working on people to come in and to this program who will bring in, and then the four of us can pepper them with questions, as it were. So big things in store. Thank you for your work so far. Nick, thank you very much. Everybody, thanks for watching or perhaps listening. If you are listening, this is a podcast. We appreciate you, appreciate your support. And remember, when given the chance, let's play every day.